welcome to a hedonistic episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts, and I have lost about 150 pounds, give or take. At least that much. Katherine Weigel here. With me today is
Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been maintaining?
I don't know.
Do you have a date?
It was like March of 2017.
That's good.
No, 2018.
2018.
So
okay. I think I'm a week away from my 2-year anniversary, so it's pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting.
I don't think I've stayed this same weight ever in my whole life. I think from...
Celebrate by eating a whole cake. Oh, no, wait, don't do that.
Don't do that. So
no,
hi.
That's the point. We don't.
Hi and hello.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about happiness.
Yeah.
And how people think it happens.
Yes.
It doesn't. If you want the Cliff's Notes version, that's
Spoiler
it.
alert.
Spoiler.
You'll never be happy.
It doesn't happen.
And before that, though, we're going to have a tip of the week.
Cow!
And a product, and then later we'll have a product of the week.
Pow!
Pow! You'd think I would have...
Tip of the week to you. I never remember.
You think I would know the order of all these things. We've only been doing it for a year plus.
You know, they do, on television shows, they do like live and unscripted, like here we go. And we don't, I mean, Donald like cuts out a couple of ums and maybe the sound of a buzzsaw outside occasionally.
Yeah.
But other than that, this is just us. Just raw. This is as
Yeah.
raw as it gets.
Yeah, raw. Is raw.
It's raw.
Gordon Ramsay, that's how he says raw.
He does.
Yeah.
So we're going to start out with the tip of the week. Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you. I feel like you usually start out with a tip of the week and then I say it. So we switched it up. It's like I'm sleeping on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's strange.
We should do an episode where we swap places on the couch.
Oh man, I don't know if I could talk into these microphones. We've done every episode on the same sides of the couch.
We have. I don't know that I could speak intelligently over there.
And then we've slept every night of our marriage on the same sides of the bed too. I don't know if I could switch.
There was something about a guy who said he and his wife switched sides of the bed and every night.
I can't. No.
I don't know what kind of fresh hell that is.
Even when I'm alone, like I can't. I have to.
I know if I stay at a
side.
hotel, I'm like your side of the bed is just pristine and mine is messed up. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. Oh wait, tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
So the tip of the week is actually something that Donald kind of came up with. I think
I did.
I thought
I'm very intelligent.
So the tip of the week is to forego the diet version of a food that you might enjoy for the full-fat, regular brand option.
Yes.
That rolls off the tongue. Donald, do you have an example where this happened to you, where maybe there was a baked version of a chip that seemed like it would be less...
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned this a while back, but I was looking in our kitchen at work and we had Cheetos. We had regular Cheetos and then we had like the baked Cheetos. And it was something like, 10 extra calories for the regular Cheetos. And they tasted about 47 times better.
It tasted 47 calories better.
No, that's empirically measured, the 47 times better. And so, I sort of pushed me to look at other things, and it's like I know cottage cheese is not everyone's bag, but I eat the full fat cottage cheese because it's just marginally higher in calories than the 2% or the skim, and it tastes 10 times better.
Well, and two, I think we get tricked by false advertising on packaging. Suddenly it says organic Doritos or organic Cheetos made with organic packaging.
Yeah.
And suddenly you seem like, oh my gosh, this must be calorie free. And really that difference isn't all that great. And if you really want the Lay's potato chips instead of the baked Lay's, get the Lay's potato chips.
And there was some Stouffer's meal that you were talking about that was better.
So I went to the store and got, as a convenience meal for our daughter, I got her these Stouffer's French bread pizza boats, as we called them when I was growing up. It was a pizza boat. French bread pizza boats.
French bread pizza.
And I got myself a lean cuisine version. And I was like, well, I'll get the lean cuisine. I don't want to go, all out with the Stouffer's.
Yeah.
So she had the Stouffer's brand, and I had the lean cuisine. And the lean cuisine was not delicious. It was, I think, only like 60 to 80 calories less than the Stouffer's pizza boat.
Yeah.
And the Stouffer's was way better, and I am willing to pay the higher caloric price for the full-fat, non-diet version. I mean, lean cuisine, nothing wrong with lean cuisine, but for me, it just was, I thought there was maybe like a 200-calorie difference, which then would make it worth it, I guess. But for like 60 to 80 calories, I'll just go for the full-fat. There was another one, like if you get the lean cuisine mac and cheese, it's fine, but there's a brand called Blake's that has a mac and cheese, and it's, again, like 60 calories more than the lean cuisine. Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious. So just take an extra step, look at the things
and
that
you can put some cauliflower in it and pump up the volume.
But just look at packaging that you get. Are you using non-fat half and half? And is it really calorically worth those 20 calories? Like, I didn't get to 300 pounds because of my half and half problem. So I get
some people might have, though.
Full fat, half and half. And it's worth it to me because it's delicious, it's creamy, and for, an extra 40 calories, I'm willing to pay that price. Maybe I'm a big spender on my calories, but just take a second look, because you might not be saving as much as you think you are, and compromising on taste that is important to you. So.
Yeah, and conversely, the Greek yogurt that I get, the 0% fat and the 2% fat taste identical to me. So I usually opt for the 0% because it saves me like 30 calories a 5.5 ounce container. And
so this was 2 tips in one.
Yeah.
Add the calories. Leave out the calories.
Yeah, I can't really. I've never done a blind taste test, but I can't really tell the difference between the 0% fat and the 2% fat, so I just do the 0.
Yeah, so just take an extra look, take that extra moment. What are you compromising on that you don't really need to compromise on? Because for me, Stouffer's pizza boats. If you actually look,
you're a grown woman eating Stouffer's pizza boats.
Oh, but it's like being in like second grade again. It's awesome. Pizza
Sadly,
boats.
I could eat an entire boat full of pizza.
Oh yeah,
easily.
for sure. So anyway, so that was the tip of the week.
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you. Ciao.
All right, everybody. Now it's time to dive into weight loss and happiness.
Yeah. So like I was saying, my 2-year weight loss anniversary is actually June 2nd. So I'm not sure when this is coming out, maybe right around then. But when I hit my goal weight, like I got on the scale and that magic number appeared, like the one I'd been waiting for my entire life.
Yeah.
And I came out into the other room and like it was like a force field that I went through. And like the phone rang and it was my boss and they told me I got a promotion. Like I was finally worth the promotion. It was amazing. Have you had an experience like that, Donald?
When I hit my goal weight, like the very next day I noticed that people started giving me the right of way when I was driving.
Oh, for sure. And I definitely never lost. I haven't lost my keys in 2 years. It's amazing. Our daughter suddenly does all of her homework. Like everything is just perfect now.
When I like have my cart full of groceries and I'm like walking up to the front, like there's like somebody will be like, "Psst, hey guy who has his goal weight, come over here. I'm going to open up a check stand for you."
Yeah, like every article of clothing looks amazing on me. Like every wrong that has ever been done to me, like all of my family relationships are amazing now.
I almost don't even want to play like board games or card games because people just want to let me win now all the time.
Yeah, it's just like everything has just laid out before us in this perfect symmetry. Like hitting that goal weight, suddenly it like you entered this new club. Wouldn't you say you get like a gold card or a platinum card? And it's just like everything's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is.
Wait.
No, it's not that.
No. None of that.
It doesn't happen that way.
No. So we are here to tell you that happiness and weight loss aren't actually a thing that go together.
Boy, that sounded like a super bummer when you just said
Bummer.
it. But weight loss is not some magic bullet that suddenly, like, will cure your entire life. Our other problems still existed, and our finances, kid stuff, relationship, work problems, those all still existed even after hitting our goal weights.
Well, I remember a long time ago, we had a friend over for dinner one night, and I was probably...
Oh, man.
It's never the year I remember. I'm just like, it was probably like 260, 270
Yeah,
at the
I know.
time. And we were in the kitchen, and
It's true. I do remember years based on how much I weighed at the time.
And this person was single, and he was saying that he didn't feel worthy of being in a relationship because of something that was going on with him. And I was like, having a relationship isn't about perfection. It's about having a partner. And he's like, well, you're so lucky. Like, you can just let yourself go because you found Donald. And I was like, you think that, like, just because I have Donald, that, like, that's why I'm overweight? Like, he imagined that self-worth, or at least being able to, like, gain your way up to 300 pounds just by, like, you're married, you don't need to work on yourself.
You don't need to worry about that anymore.
He thought it was a destination. He thought that achieving marriage or whatever, suddenly you didn't have any aspirations in life. And I think we often tie a magic weight or a size of clothing with our self-worth. And happiness is sort of a mirage. Like, we were reading the Gifts of Imperfection book by Brene Brown, and she says in one of her things, I'll be worthy when I lose 20 pounds, if I can get pregnant, if I can stay sober, if everyone else thinks I'm a good parent, if my kid gets A's, if my parents finally approve of me, if I find a partner, when I get married, when I get the promotion, when we pay off our debt. There's always this other thing in front of us that we feel like suddenly we're going to be happy if all of these things fall into place.
Yeah, we hit a goal, and we just we keep moving the goalposts. Like, we get to the goalposts, and then we keep moving them down the road. And I know many of you may be thinking that it's easy for us to say because we've achieved our goal weights, but the truth is that what I've discovered is that the number on the scale wasn't the problem. The problem was never feeling good enough, never feeling like I was worthy, or that I always, needed to be striving towards some weight loss goal, that because I was overweight, that I just wasn't good enough for those around me.
Well, and I went to college late. I graduated when I was 28, and I had a lot of feelings of lack of self-worth because all the people around me had college degrees, and I felt like I would finally be worthy once I had my degree. And I remember when I graduated, it was this thing that I was like, I had wanted for so many years. And when it finally happened, like, for months after that, I was really depressed because this whole part of my life that I was, was like, oh, it's all going to be better once I get the degree. Like, it was over. And all of the fellowship that I had, all the hard work that I put in, like, I wasn't getting graded on things. I was just living my life. And I think a lot of people hit that when they, after you get married, or after you start your dream job, or after you move, you think that suddenly you're going to be happy forever.
Yeah, there's this kind of temporary euphoria, but it's temporary. Like, I used to, when I was a kid, and even as an adult, I would think, oh man, if I could just have that one, if I could just get that Sega Genesis, then everything. I was probably not actually even a kid at that point. I was probably well into my teens.
It's so funny. I thought you were going to say, like, when I get my driver's license, when I have that first kiss. Like,
yeah, no, that's not me. But, I would be like, it's kind of that, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, it's kind of that, I really treasure the build up to Christmas. I treasure the Christmas season, and I would always have this yearning for Christmas morning. I just couldn't wait for Christmas morning. Couldn't wait. And then, Christmas morning would come, and a half hour after waking up, it would be over. And suddenly I'd be like, oh man, I have to wait. Like,
it was the season he enjoyed. The
exactly.
build up, the working toward, the joy and the cheer.
And it wasn't until long into adulthood that I realized that what I actually liked was the Christmas season and the songs and the, all the build up to it and the anticipation of it. It wasn't it wasn't really Christmas morning I was looking forward to.
Well, and part of it too, I mean, if you think about if you're going on a vacation or someone is coming to visit that you're looking forward to, or if there's a concert that you want to go to, part of the excitement of it is the anticipation of it, the planning of it, the researching it. And when it happens, that's great, but it's almost, like we're going on vacation in a couple of months, and I'm excited just to be excited about it. And then when it's over, it'll be over, and then I won't have that to look forward to. And I think when I actually hit my goal weight, for like a week or so, I was thrilled. I couldn't believe it. It was a number I had never seen before, and I was elated. And then the elation passed, and then I just felt normal again, and then it was just normal. And I think we're going to do an episode on maintenance soon, but you think that number every day is going to feel like you're hitting the jackpot in Vegas. Like every day you're going to step on the scale like, woo, I'm there, I'm dead, woo. That was my Las Vegas sound. That sound like, if you've been to Las Vegas and you know what it sounds like. We should do a vuvuzela. Here, do the vuvuzela sound. But
that was a terrible vuvuzela.
That first, the feeling, that first kiss, that rush of adrenaline that you get when you see the number that you've dreamed of, or the size that you've dreamed of, that thrill dissipates. And there's actually scientists in Sciencetown at Science University have actually come up with a term for that sort of losing that feeling. What is it, Donald?
It's called Hedonic Adaptation, sometimes called the Hedonic Treadmill, and it applies to all aspects of life. Really, it's sort of that feeling of you get a new piece of art to hang in your home. And you first put it up and you just love it. And it is gorgeous and it ties the room together and you just feel like, oh, I found the perfect piece of art. And then time goes by and you just kind of get used to it. And
you don't even see it. And something that used to give you thrill no longer does.
Yeah, when you first have it, it's just, it's the joy. Or, at the beginning of a relationship, or you first get a new car, or whatever it is, like you feel this feeling of euphoria that you really have something. And then after a while, it just becomes commonplace. It just becomes like, what you have in your life.
Well, and then from there, and where the treadmill comes in, is then you look for the next thrill. So there are gambling addictions, there's buying addictions, there's food addictions. I know all of those three men. No, but there's always, my grandmother used to order things from QVC, and she loved the process of getting the package in the mail. And even with us with Amazon, it's like, ooh, what did I get from Amazon? Like, oh, more tape.
Yeah,
Yay.
I have a Pavlovian response to that box with the smile on the side because I know something good's coming in it.
But we're always looking for that next thing to make us feel alive and make us feel worthy. And when we get it, that feeling passes, that rush. And it's kind of like with food too. Like you're desperate for that pizza or you're desperate for that muffin. And then after 5 or 6 of them, the feeling passes.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, you find your new favorite food and you eat the same thing and you eat it over and over again. Then after a while, you're like, oh boy, I'm really getting tired of this.
Well, and we too, it's just going back to that thing of like, when I graduate, when I get the job, when I pay off my debt, we think that this destination is in front of us and that happiness comes with that number and comes with that achievement. And though that achievement is amazing, I can tell you 2 years after being at maintenance, the number that I'm at right now does nothing for me. I know that sounds terrible, but 4 years ago, being 150 pounds would have been like, oh my God, this is the best day ever. It's going to be like this forever. And now it's like, it's a little high right now. I'm not really I want to lose a couple more because I was up over the holidays. It stops having that amazing rush feeling.
And again, I know a lot of you out there who wish you were at your goal weight are saying, oh boy, must be nice. These are certainly champagne problems to have. And on a certain level, you're right about that. But I think our point here is that, if I had to go back and do it again, I think that the what I would try and teach myself is that I was good enough at whatever weight I was. And if I had realized that sooner, I think I might have been able to achieve my goal sooner, because I wouldn't have tried to sort of drown my problems with food. I would have realized that I was good enough and I deserved this kind of success sooner. And I think it would have made it easier for me to achieve my goal.
Well, and I've said it too, that, 4 or 5 years ago, I felt put upon, overworked, underpaid, underappreciated. And I took an online quiz on Facebook that was like, what kind of personality are you? And a friend of mine took it, and it was like positive, outgoing, team player. And I took it, and it was like...
Just a picture of Eeyore popped up.
It did. But my whole quadrant was negative, not trusting, and it felt really bad to see that. How is this person that I know on this positive side and I'm in this negative hole? And I wasn't being my authentic self. I wasn't setting boundaries with people. I wasn't eating in a way that made me feel good. I wasn't exercising. I just assumed everyone else's life was better than mine. And I was a victim to all of that. And I didn't think it was changeable. And I think in this process, whatever weight you are, whatever stage in your journey you are, the feeling of happiness or the process of happiness comes from self-awareness and feeling like you have the tools to change your circumstance or your perception of your circumstance. I have the same job. I have the same husband. I have the same,
Sorry.
No, but life is the same. We live in the same place. We're doing the same thing. But my perception and my gratitude has changed so much over the last few years because I have worked on my boundaries, because I have worked on my self-awareness, because I focus on people who enrich my life, not tear me down. It's a very slow process, but I suffer from depression. There are days when I am super happy and super grateful, and there are days when I am super depressed. And nobody could come up with me with a number on the scale and say but you're this number now, you're happy, right?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I don't think that's really gotten any better since you've achieved your goal weight. I mean, I think that's still the same.
No, but I don't I don't think the grass is greener on the other side. I'm not envious like I was before. I'm not jealous like I was. I am legitimately happy when other people succeed, because there is not a finite amount of joy or, positivity in the world that we can have. It's not Sheila's at her goal weight. I guess there's none for me left.
Yeah.
But the way I look at the world, the way I invest in myself, the hope that I feel going, gosh, you know what? I was wrong about myself. I, at 250 pounds, didn't think I could lose the weight. Guess what? I lost 100 pounds. What else don't I know about what I'm capable of? And finding that, I think, is huge.
Yeah, and I think that, as an example of trying to grow as a person, I know we talk about must be nice all the time on this show, but we have some good friends, and I don't know how much I can even say about this, but one of whom works for Disney, and a bunch of the Disney employees got a chance to visit the new Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land, basically at Disneyland recently. And when my friend was going to tell me about it, he was like, "You're going to be mad." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so he told me that they were going to get to go, and I was genuinely happy for him. I realized that being jealous of what he got to do was not going to do either of us any good. And being happy for his success has really helped me to be better at striving for my own success.
Well, and I think we also sometimes want to temper him saying, you're going to be mad. We assume that people are going to be jealous of our successes and not supportive and just authentically happy for us.
Yeah.
And I definitely, if I could just find that test again that I took 4 years ago, I honestly think that the amount of positivity and growth and teamwork and all of that, I think, would be so much higher. I'm still very cranky all the time. But I think
Yeah, and I still have huge problems with being jealous of other people's career success in my business. People who are doing the same job as me, when I find out they're making more money than me, or they're having to turn down jobs that, I wish I had. That kind of thing is still really hard to get over. But I feel like that this whole process has made me more aware of the fact that there isn't a limited amount of success in the world, and that just because somebody else has achieved their goals doesn't mean that I can't.
And I definitely have, it's the direction that you're facing that brings happiness and hope. If I am going up the scale toward 160 pounds, it feels terrible. If I'm 170 pounds going down toward 160, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not the number. There's nothing magical about a number. It's the importance that you place on that number. And it's the things that you're doing to get there. If I'm gaining weight, which I've been doing a little bit of recently, dabbling in the dark arts.
Oh, boy.
But it's like the habits that I have in place get me to the number that I want. It feels really good to eat at my calorie deficit, to walk 17,000 steps a day, to drink water, to eat vegetables, and pump up the volume.
Pump up the volume.
To participate in my accountability group, to do what I say I'm going to do. And we just did the episode about sleeping with the enemy. When those things are not aligned, when I'm not doing what I say I'm going to do, when I start making excuses for myself, when I start justifying everything this once, all of that, the direction that I'm facing is the issue. And it feels so good to be in alignment with my goals. And when I turn around and leave my goals behind, leave my habits behind, that's when I feel bad. And that's when, happiness kind of eludes me, because I feel like I'm buffering, or I'm avoiding what I know makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's not a number on the scale which makes me happy, but it's feeling healthier that makes me happy. Like, since I've lost the weight, I'm able to walk much longer than I was. I'm able to do all of these things in my personal life. I'm able to go up a flight of stairs without it killing me. And just like feeling a lot better in general, physically, has made me feel a lot better in general, mentally.
Well, and I definitely used to think that thin people just must be happy. Like,
Yeah.
what do you got to be mad about? Like,
Yeah, you're thin. What's
thin.
your problem?
There's a happiness, and it's not that. And I think there's so much in life that the number doesn't bring. Like I said, it doesn't bring the happiness. And I think we get really disappointed when we find that that's true, and that's where sabotage comes in, because suddenly it's not giving you that thrill that you thought it was. So why bother? And okay, I have a job. Does it bring me like a thrill every day? No, but it gets it affords me the lifestyle that I have.
Yeah.
And following my habits
You've got the
affords
skills
me.
that pay the bills.
But following the habits gets me the physical results that I enjoy. It gives me the mental clarity that I enjoy. It gives me the generosity of spirit that I enjoy, because I am taking care of myself. And if you got to put on that life vest before you put on other people's life vests.
Yeah, and the feeling of achieving my weight loss goal has definitely made me happier, but the bad news is that it never ends. There's no finish line, which we say over and over again, and I need to continue doing this for the rest of my life. And so there isn't like a big, ticker tape parade that happens when I hit my goal weight. It was I just have to keep doing the same habits that I did and that got me here.
You get to do the same habits.
I get to do the same habits.
But it's like being at the Olympics and you get the gold medal, and then waking up the next day and you've got to earn that medal again. And then the next day you have to earn the medal again. And there's no point at which you're suddenly just at the top of the podium and you're stuck there. You might last there for a week or two. You might be able to coast a little bit. But this is a diligent effort that we are undertaking. It is no different than when we were on our weight loss journeys.
Yeah.
And knowing that there is a possibility for a future, we're always looking for ways to improve our lives, to look at things differently, to invest in books and podcasts and people who bring us, greater mental clarity, I think, and greater self-understanding. Because we're still flawed. We're flawed people, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more flawed than most, but which brings me to be kind to yourself. Don't say things about yourself like I just did. One of the whole keys to this was realizing that saying things to myself like, "Oh, you'll never do this," or "You're an idiot," or "What's wrong with me?" That didn't get me anywhere, and it won't get me anywhere. And it can feel very foreign, but learning to be kind to myself was one of the big keys to weight loss success and ultimately to the improved amount of happiness that I have. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% happy, but it's certainly I'm working my way in that direction.
Well, and I also think that we have to consider, and I think this is a big part of my experience from 3 or 4 years ago, was, are you a passenger in your life or are you in the driver's seat? Are you going with the flow with what everyone else wants to do, trying to stay out of the way, being as small as possible and out of the way as possible to not make ripples, to not speak your own needs? And we do that so often that we forget who we are and what we stand for and what we actually want because we're afraid just to take up space. And we did the boundaries episode recently that talked about that. And the more you can own your voice and your space and understand yourself, are you a night person or a day person? Do you not mind clutter? Do you need, something to be organized? Understanding the best work circumstances that you can put yourself in, like knowing myself better and finding out more about what I'm capable of has brought me happiness and has brought me, the possibility of change and having that growth mindset of, gosh, what's next? Like, what don't I know? And keeping on investing, I think is where, like, we all need hope, right? We all need something to look forward to.
Yeah.
If you think, like, I have a family member who's like, boy, the best days were when I was 22. Like,
breaks my heart.
I want to believe that my best days are ahead. And it takes planning and it takes effort and it takes being in the driver's seat and driving the direction you're going in. But like, I don't want to think that the good times were, when I was football captain and junior varsity, I don't know, polo.
Were you
is that
football captain in junior varsity polo?
I was the first one in the top of my class.
Clearly, Catherine knows a lot about football
Sport.
And polo. But related to that, I think a lot of times that we feel all this pressure to become a certain weight or to look a certain way, or, we think that when we get to a certain weight that we're going to feel a certain way. And, one of the keys for me was realizing that this pressure was coming from me. Like, there's nobody was trying to force me into a certain body weight or a certain body type but me. And I have become okay with the fact that I'm never going to hit the perfect body weight or I'm never going to have the perfect body. And I think that just releasing that pressure that I put on myself has been huge in increasing my happiness.
And I think too, we're in a position where we think that happiness is, it's on the horizon in front of us. And, just kind of closing this up, realizing that it's great to have goals in life and benchmarks to want to achieve, but it's the mindset and the feeling of worthiness in the moment and the feeling of hope we have and the self-trust that we have by doing what we say we're going to do. I think that's where the magic is. And there's no perfect happiness. Like, we all are going to be affected by crazy things in our life. Like, there are things that will unfold before us that are going to be terrible. And we can't have, we're not just like, oh my gosh, I'm happy all the time. Like, oh, this is great. Oh, like whoever passed away. Well, that's great. I'm happy. Did you see my weight on the scale? Like, you're not just going to be happy forever. Like, who says that happiness is the goal of everything? Like, there's more to life.
And I have a quote that I found online that I think is really has been moving for me. It's from a woman named Kim McMillan on a site called tinybuddha.com. And she says, "When I loved myself enough, I began leaving whatever wasn't healthy. This meant people, jobs, my own beliefs, and habits. Anything that kept me small. My judgment called it disloyal. Now I see it as self-loving."
I'm clapping quietly in my brain. I don't want to
because clapping on a podcast is really annoying. But when you really truly learn to love yourself, you know that these things that you've been doing that are harmful are harmful. It's easier to recognize them and to move on from them and to establish positive habits and goals and people and jobs and things in your life.
So we would ask you for the week ahead, think about what you think about happiness. Think about, do you really think that that number on the scale is going to be the final resting point for your happiness? The size of the clothes, the job. What can you do right now to start reinvesting in yourself and to start owning your life? Setting boundaries with people, setting boundaries with yourself, discovering more about yourself, reading books like The Gifts of Imperfection or Atomic Habits by James Clear. There are people who like sort of touchy-feely kumbaya books, and then there are more scientifically based books. But all of that self-helpful.
Or there are some people who like to touchy-feely scientists.
But
I don't know what that means.
But discovering more about yourself, investing in yourself. And, oftentimes we put ourselves on the back burner so much and we make other people the priority. We don't even know what we want. So it's not too late to start finding out a little bit more about what really drives you, what makes you feel good. And the more you can start living in a place of gratitude for what you have, the more you can invest in yourself. I think happiness is a byproduct of that. And sure, the number on the scale is amazing for 50 reasons, which I'll go into in detail right now. But it's not, we just want to dispel the idea that it's a destination. And we said that there's no finish line, but happiness is just the process. It's doing what you say you're going to do. I think Mahatma Gandhi said happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony.
Wow.
You can't tell yourself you're an idiot and lose a bunch of weight and feel great about yourself.
Yeah.
Being able to speak positively, act positively, and think positively are what gets you to the end goal. That's what Mahatma said. Not me. I'm just quoting him. So yeah. So that's what I have to say about happiness. So think about ways that you think happiness is in the future, when really it's right all around you. It's all around you right now.
And speaking of happiness, I think it's time to move on to the product of the week.
Pow!
Pow!
I almost said towel, but that wouldn't have been correct.
Product of the week to you.
Product of the week to you. So one really huge source of happiness for me has been the podcast Happier with Gretchen Rubin.
Ties in.
It does. Gretchen Rubin is an author and a podcaster. She's written books like Better Than Before, The Happiness Project, Outer Order, Inner Calm. And I have read her books, but I'm specifically giving a product of the week shout out to Happier with Gretchen Rubin. Each week, she and her sister sort of talk about happiness hacks in just your normal life. Like, we're not talking deep meditative pursuits, but just small things like finding out about the 4 tendencies, which is how you react to accountability. Are you driven by your own motivation? Do you need external motivation or accountability? Each week she covers a couple of different things, and it's really brought a lot of happiness into my life. Being able to feel like in my very own home and in my space that I can affect small changes. And it's kind of ties into that Atomic Habits, the, improving your life by 1%.
Yeah.
Each week I get a little bit of advice on, like how to manage workplace conflict or how to be happier at home. Like at home, when we greet one another, we say heartfelt hello.
Heartfelt hello.
Heartfelt hello. hello. And it's kind of a joke, and it's not actually what Gretchen Rubin suggested you do.
Yeah, she wanted people to give heartfelt
warm
hellos
greetings
and goodbyes, and I took it literally.
We've abused it a little bit.
Literally say heartfelt hello and heartfelt goodbye.
But now we do it with our daughter.
Yeah.
And it's like our family thing, and it's really fun. So
we make her do it.
She does it on her own.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. But in the podcast Happier with Gretchen Rubin has given me a weekly touchstone of just positivity and self-reflection and understanding myself better and the people around me also, because it's not just about how you view yourself, but how you relate to others.
And when Catherine's happier, I'm happier. Happy wife, happy life. That's what they say. Am I right, fellas? Am I right?
If you're a fella, let us know.
If you're a fella, we want to hear about it.
So yeah, Donald, because he's Scooter Computer, he will put information on Happier with Gretchen Rubin
in the show notes.
In the show notes.
Speaking of show notes, oh wait, that was our product of the week.
Pow!
Speaking of show notes, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you've listened to it. Please do that. You can also find us at weonlylookthin.com.
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at weonlylookthin.
And even Twitter at weonlylookthin. You can also email us, weonlylookthin@gmail.com. If you could be a buddy, and we know you want to be our buddy, and rate and review us on iTunes, that really helps us out.
Yeah, and if you want to let someone else in your life know about the podcast, word of mouth is really how podcasts like ours, our little ragtag bunch, get the name out. So
yeah, we're a ragtag bunch like the A-Team.
So let us know. And email us if you have any questions or subjects you'd like to cover. But share this with somebody else that you love. It'll make
please do
a little happier.
If you've gotten a little bit out of this, then please let somebody else know.
So if you're still confused as to whether or not weight loss is a destination or a journey, just remember that Donald and I are
an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.